Morpheus gives Neo a choice, telling him, "You take the blue pill, the story ends, you wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe." Or he can choose the red pill, make the ultimate paradigm shift and find out what's really going on. Neo takes that red pill and has to face the truth about the life he believes he has been living. We're all a bit like Neo. We have a view of reality that is skewed. Not, as in Neo's case, by a machine-made matrix that feeds on human energy. Rather, by biases that are as hidden and as powerful as the matrix is for those who are still plugged in. As we acknowledge, explore and identify biases, we are able to start shifting paradigms that have shaped our lives since childhood. What I want you to understand is that bias is simply part of the way we think. When you realise bias always exists in parallel to logical and rational arguments, then you have the power to make bias conscious and have it work for you rather than against you in everything you do. Our reality is flawed by our insistence that perception equals truth. How we perceive things is shaped and influenced by what we were taught in childhood about how the world works, who to trust, what occupation is desirable, which group of people to avoid, and so many other things. These biases continue to shape our perception and become our reality that separates us from others and skews our decision-making. Professor Richard E. Nisbet of Michigan University says, "We understand the world not through direct perception, but through inferential procedures that we are unaware of." Nisbet recognises that although we think we have a direct and accurate understanding of the world, there are unconscious factors and biases that influence that understanding. We pride ourselves on being objective. We're convinced that when we have a decision to make, that we objectively assess each option and choose the best or most appropriate one. However, objectivity is an illusion because all people are unconsciously influenced by their biases. Bias is so hidden from our conscious thought, it is as if it is part of humanity's psychological DNA. Roger J. Davies says that as humans, our decision-making process is heavily influenced by our primary innate biases which operate in a parallel world to our rational and logical thought processes. That idea of a parallel universe intrigues me as I look at the way that I and other people think. There are some things that come instinctually and others that are much more carefully thought through. Author Daniel Kahneman writes of two ways of looking at our thinking. First, there is fast thinking, which is instinctive, judgmental and biased. And then there is the slow thinking of logic, reason and rational thought. In these parallel worlds, we may have biases that don't necessarily align with our beliefs. As we come to accept that our biased perception of the world is not necessarily accurate, as we own that the objectivity that we've lauded is actually an illusion, and as we acknowledge that bias operates in a parallel world to the known world of logic, reason and rational thought, then we have the opportunity to see the Matrix and Zion, the real world of Morpheus, Neo and Trinity, at one and the same time. We can start to see what is illusory and flawed in the way we think, and we can open ourselves up to new ways of seeing the world that bring light, colour and growth to our relationships and decisions, our workplaces and our businesses.